Well, it's 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order if Phil can lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Father, God, we come to you tonight with thankful hearts. Lord, thankful for the community we live in, God. Thankful for all the blessings that you've bestowed upon all of us, Lord. I just ask you, Lord, to go with all of us in this Thanksgiving season. God, help us to be thankful for everything you've done for us, Lord, and help us to be mindful of those, Lord, who may be heartsick this Thanksgiving, and anything we can do to lift up our fellow man, Lord, please let us do. Now go with us into this meeting. Help us to consider and make these decisions in the best interest of our city that we love so much, Lord. Just grant us the heart of a servant tonight, Lord, and help us to do things that would, and make decisions, Lord, that would be to honor you. Now go with us, lead, guide, and direct us. These many favors and blessings we ask in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Everyone want to join us in the pledge to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next is to consider the agenda for adoption. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we need to adopt the meeting minutes from the regular meeting of October 17th, 2023. Do I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have a few proclamations. The first one is for Harvesting Hope for Jesse's House. Whereas Jesse's House, a local Cumming-based nonprofit organization, serves to save and rescue adolescent girls throughout the state of Georgia in order to secure a safe environment and a nurturing home for each. And whereas Jesse's House provides for the health care, dental care, and orthodontic needs of these adolescent girls, and whereas Jesse's House provides for the therapy needed for each of the adolescent girls who arrive at their door with years of trauma and abuse, and whereas Jesse's House prepares these adolescent girls with tutoring and the ability to graduate high school, and for some to possibly attend college, and whereas the community support from civic groups, social groups, businesses, and individuals is needed in order for Jesse's House to have the ability to provide for the care and financial needs of each adolescent girl who comes through their doors each month. And whereas the annual fall fundraiser called Harvesting Hope for Jesse's House has been established to raise the funds needed to care for the needs and expenses of raising and nurturing these adolescent girls. And whereas for the past 25 years, Jesse's House has provided for the needs and the education of 1,090 adolescent girls from all across Georgia. And whereas through fundraisers such as Harvesting Hope for Jesse's House, they will continue to be around for the next girl who needs them. And whereas October 14th, 2023 signifies the first official fall fundraiser to be known as Harvesting Hope for Jesse's House. Now therefore, I, Troy Brumbelow, Mayor of the City of Cumming, do proclaim October 14th will be known as Harvesting Hope for Jesse's House Day, and encourage our residents to learn about and support Jesse's House. I know it was a little late, but that was when they could come, so we're still proud to do it.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all.
Thank you very much for what you do. Next, we have another proclamation for National American Indian Heritage Month. Whereas the history and culture of our great nation have been significantly influenced by American Indians and indigenous people, and whereas contributions of American Indians have enhanced the freedoms, prosperity, and greatness of the United States of America today, and whereas the customs and traditions of American Indians are respected and celebrated as part of a rich legacy throughout the United States, and whereas Native American Awareness Week began in 1976 and recognition was expanded by Congress and approved by President George H.W. Bush in August of 1990, designating the month of November as National American Indian Heritage Month. Now therefore, I, Troy Brumbelow, Mayor of the City of Cumming, do hereby proclaim November 2023 as National American Indian Heritage Month in Cumming, Georgia, and urge all our residents to observe this month with appropriate programs, ceremonies, and activities. The podium gets in the way.
That's right there. Let me get it on this one and then I'll get it on. All right, 1, 2, 3.
Thank y'all. Appreciate y'all.
Next, under old business, there is none. New business, item A, Fairgrounds, the 2023 Cumming Country Fair and Festival recap.
Good evening. I hope all y'all are doing well. First of all, I want to just thank you guys for your continued support for our annual event. And I also want to thank all of our sponsors, the Cumming Fair staff, the volunteer workers, the community for their continued support. This thing keeps getting bigger and bigger every year, and without all the support from everyone, that couldn't happen. So again, I want to say thank you for all that. I kind of jokingly, say that, it's all, the fair is always weather dependent. Well, this year kind of speaks to that. We had 3 days that were affected by rain. The 2 Fridays and the Wednesday. But with that being said, we were only down 1% from where we were in 2022, which is one of our biggest years ever. So I am a firm believer that if we did not have those 3 days, we were definitely on pace to surpass last year. So for that, I am grateful. You have the spreadsheet in front of you. There's no need for me to go through everything item by item. Like I said, we were down 1% overall from last year. If you look at our big 2 revenue items, our gate as well as the midway, we were down 4% on those 2 items, but still, when you're looking big picture, we still had a fantastic year, and I'm very pleased with that. Couple things that I've noticed: our online ticket sales are starting to take an upward tick. I guess it's just a sign of the times. So we're seeing that. Our food percentage was up about 9%. I think most of that had to do with, we did add 4 additional vendors, food vendors to our lineup this year, which helped get that number up. So yeah, I mean, the numbers are good. I'm very thankful. We were blessed this year, and we just hope to keep it going next year.
Well,
So,
Y'all do an amazing job, you and the entire staff. I know
thank you.
it's-
We appreciate it. We
It's a
appreciate it.
stressful 10 days, but it's even
Well, I
stressful.
mean, I like to say the
few
fair.
weeks coming up before that too, that nobody
Yeah,
realizes.
that's where the stress comes in. The fair itself is not that bad. It's the month leading up to it and getting everything set up, ready to run. But once the gates open on the first day, we're usually in pretty good shape.
Tracy, everything seemed great to me. The layout was a little different, I noticed. I don't know how much y'all have input on that, but I loved it. I thought it was a
We
little
do
more
try
open.
to mix things up. We try to maximize the footprint we have, to spread things out as much as possible, because the lines are long, and so you do need more space to try to, because people, even though people are waiting in lines, you still have to have the flow of the patrons, moving around. They still have to be able to do that. So yeah, we do try to mix it up. We like to give it a little bit of a new look every year. Otherwise, just try to keep it fresh.
Was there anything we can do, or you need, or,
Yeah.
well, I mean, what
Yeah.
are some of the problems?
It's coming up in the budget. We'll find out in item D.
No, I mean, it's just one of those things that, I mean, with the fair continuing to grow every year, I mean, the footprint's only so big, so
Sure.
I mean, we have to, without more footage, our hands are tied a little bit, but, we try to get creative on ways to maximize that.
The parking, how did that work out this year? Is that still going well with not charging for parking?
I think it's, with the way that inflation and everything is going up, I think the general public appreciated us not charging for parking again.
Yeah.
You do lose a revenue source there, but at the same time, I mean, I personally think it's the way to go.
Yeah.
Just make sure you have steak tips back. That was my biggest comment I got, was people loving the steak tip place being back.
It was good. It was good. So, yeah. Any questions, any other questions or anything? Be glad to answer. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Next, item B, planning and zoning. Number 1, the 2024 alcohol license renewals.
Kevin, while Lenny's coming up, should we reverse these two, though? Shouldn't we consider the alcohol license for Mary Lucille's first? It's on because it's on the list for renewals.
Oh, it's on the list for renewals.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying, because they're applying for a license and for a renewal.
No, she's coming for approval tonight, but she's been added to the 24 license list
Yes.
as a new license.
Do we need a motion to change the agenda? I will make a motion to hear item B2 before item B1.
Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. So item B2, alcohol license application for Mary Lucille's at 431 Vision Drive, Suite F104.
Okay, good evening. As the mayor just said, that's another location in the city center at the address just advertised. We received the alcohol license application for the sale of distilled spirits, malt beverage, and wine for consumption on the premise, and also for a retail package of wine from the same business, for the business of Mary Lucille's. The applicant has followed all the protocol, all the background checks were done, she's paid all the fees, and there's been no issues with any of that, so my recommendation is that we approve the the license as applied for.
Any questions or comments?
Public hearing?
Have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the alcohol beverage license for Mary Lucille's.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, Lenny. Now, item B1, 2024 alcohol license renewals.
Okay. So for this year, for the renewals for 2024, we received 61 license renewals for businesses that currently have alcohol licenses within the city. All of the businesses on the list, you all should have the list in front of you. All the businesses on the list have completed the process, all the required paperwork, and paid all the required fees to the city. So therefore, it's recommended that we approve the renewal for all these businesses. Additionally, as was just discussed, Mary Lucille's is added on there, but it's highlighted on there as a new business that was in the approval process. 2 current licensees right now did not renew. Who's ever not aware, O'Charlie's closed abruptly a couple weeks ago, so their license will be terminated effective January 1, and the Old Harbor Seafood has chosen not to renew their license. So again, January 1, their license will be terminated. So that will leave us with 62 total licenses with the approval of Mary Lucille's.
Any questions or comments? Have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve the 2024 alcohol license renewals list.
Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Thank you, sir. Item C, Police, a Vive AED presentation.
All right, good evening, Mayor and City Council. Recently, every Cumming police officer was outfitted with an AED. They all got assigned their own to carry in their car. This was made possible through a program called the 4-Minute City Program. This program aims to make an AED available within 4 minutes of a collapse from sudden cardiac arrest. We have Mr. Jason Grady with us today, who's going to give you guys more information about this program.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, council members, thank you for this opportunity. I will be brief. I know some of you probably know a little bit about this program, but maybe a little, just a quick little background for those that don't know. That cardiac arrest is an epidemic that is really all across the United States and around the world. People that collapse from sudden cardiac arrest as their heart has stopped and they are stopped breathing have a very small window to be able to regain their pulse. After about 10 minutes, the odds of surviving cardiac arrest are essentially 0. For every 60 seconds that goes by with no intervention, the odds of surviving go down by 10%. We do know that if a shot can be delivered to a heart within about 4 minutes, the odds of surviving go up to about 70 or 80%. Unfortunately, not just in the United States, but even here in the city of Cumming and Forsyth County, responders from fire and EMS can sometimes be 6 or 7, 8 minutes away from the time that they're dispatched to the time they arrive. And so the city of Cumming and Forsyth has not been removed from this epidemic of a survival rate of less than 10%. In fact, within the county as a whole, the survival rate has been about 5 or 6% for sudden cardiac arrest. Part of this is because we know that delivering a shock, specifically from an AED, is important. Across the country, there are about 5 or 6 million AEDs, and we have them all throughout the city and the county. However, they get used about 4% of the time. Part of that reason is most cardiac arrests actually happen in the home. Over 80% happen in the residential areas. The other problem is being able to match up an AED with someone that's willing to respond. So imagine with Uber, if you were going to use Uber or Lyft, there are millions of cars out there, but if you can't get a car to you quickly, the rest of those cars really don't matter. So in 2017, a group of MIT students actually as a final project had an idea of whether or not they could take their cell phone and deliver a shock that would be 150 joules, the same that come out of an AED. The reason they wanted to investigate that was because if they could use their phone, because phones are everywhere and they are connected and we know where all of them are, if we could get someone there with a phone that could deliver an AED shock, we could save many lives. Unfortunately, we cannot use phones as medical devices. If you think they're expensive now, imagine if the FDA got a hold of them and made them medical devices and had to upgrade. They actually won the whole competition at MIT. So they actually got connected with a couple other folks that said, I think maybe we have a product here. What if we could take an AED with the same connectivity of a cell phone, and also with some of the AEDs that are out there, they're big, they're bulky, they're a little bit menacing. So what they came up with is this. And so this is the Evive AED. Part of this is the AED part. The other part is a connectivity to the cell towers. Also has Wi-Fi connectivity. So now in the city of Cumming, if someone has a cardiac arrest, as soon as 911 is called, the dispatch center can see exactly where that caller is using technology called Rapid SOS that is in the 911 center. They can tell within 15 feet where that caller is. They also know where all the AEDs are all throughout the county, specifically within 1 mile. So within 1 mile of that cardiac arrest, any AED will get alerted. Google Maps will actually pop up on this screen and direct someone to go there. We do think, so they came up with this idea of, can we get one of these AEDs and someone willing to do CPR to the side of a patient within 4 minutes. To do this, we need to have many AEDs out there, and we have to have many responders. So we've had, we've asked police and sheriff's office and fire department and EMS and the hospital and anybody that's connected to public safety or healthcare in any way to take one of these. And so the Northside, we're fortunate to have the Northside Hospital, the Foundation, Forsyth Foundation, to fund the first 300 of these AEDs. And so we've been able to deploy now, we've deployed our first 150. This is a new AED. It just started being marketed, manufactured this summer. Actually, Evive went out to over 100 sites in the country to determine where could this 4-minute city work. And Forsyth County and the city of Cumming is only one of 3 areas in the entire country that they determined where this can be successful. And so we've been working very closely with them. They have just been deployed. We have yet to need one or to use one, but as they are deployed through the county, as Chief Gervin said, we are incredibly proud and appreciative to the police department and to this body for supporting that. And every single police officer is now fitted with one of these. The thing that I was very impressed with Cumming PD also was the 4-minute city was a little bit too high of a benchmark for them. When I found out that the average response time is about 2 minutes, we thought, wow, we can really do some good. The other part of this that was lacking on the healthcare side is when one of these is used, having the information off of this, off of typical AEDs can often take days to get cables and software and everything. Because this is connected, as soon as this is used, the information goes up to the cloud and we're able to get that information off immediately to the emergency department and to the cardiologist even before the patient arrives. So not only do we think that this model is going to save lives, this 4-minute city model, but also what we're seeing is what we've been able to do here in the city of Cumming and in Forsyth County is really going to become a model for the 4-minute cities all across the country. In fact, the company is working very closely with us, and we are literally writing the manual for how this functions best, be able to come here and have your support and support from all around the county, specifically with public safety and the police department. We really think that there's going to be a lot of good here. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions or anything? Yeah, that would be great. We'll put some brochures in the back.
Good to see you again.
What are the paddles inside of it?
They are right here.
Yep.
Pull those out.
Very cool.
Awesome.
Nice.
Thanks a lot.
Hope I don't need it.
No.
That's great.
Well, that's really exciting stuff. I was part of the kickoff when they started that. It may have been close to a year ago, but it's really amazing. If 911 calls and Phil has one at his house, they're calling Phil first if it's his next door neighbor. I mean, it's really cool that, how it could save somebody's life. Next, under administration, item 1, the 2024 budget information only.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of council. In your packet tonight, you have a copy of the proposed budget summary for 2024. If you will notice on there, the expected revenue in the general fund this year, we are proposing that it will go up about 5%. That is in large part to increased sales tax revenue that we've received. So we have, I want to thank Jeff Honey and his staff, the city clerk, his accounting staff, and all the department heads for helping gather all the information that we use to comprise the proposed budget for this year. Tonight, it's information only for you guys. We'll have a public hearing at the next meeting on the budget, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have. I know you're going to want to go over the numbers a little bit, and then if you want to reach out to me or Mr. Honey, we'll be glad to answer any questions you may have regarding the proposed 2024 budget.
Any questions for Phil or comments? All right, moving on, item 2, purchase of mitigation credits for Sawney Drive extension.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. Unfortunately, we've been down this road before. Anytime we've built a road project, recently we've had to face the issue of mitigation credits for working near streams and wetlands. And the Sawney Drive extension is no different. We have had, our engineers have came up with a original set of plans. We looked at the proposed road on that one, the track of the road. The result in that one would have been mitigation credits of $923,000. So they went back and revised the plan to a new path that will still match the connection point on the private property piece of the project. The mitigation credits now that we would owe would be $804,000. We've had them look at it to see if it would be feasible to move the road in another direction to try to avoid the mitigation credits. It's our opinion of our engineer that we should not. We should leave the road as it's designed now in this path with the $804,000 of mitigation credits, and that is due to if we relocate the road further south, we're going to incur additional cost with poor soil conditions, possibly have to construct some retaining walls. It's also going to cost less in piping in this area. So it's the opinion of our engineer with Foresight Group that we maintain the path that the road is designed to be on right now and to purchase the mitigation credits in order to construct our portion of this drive. Wish I had better news on this. We knew this was going to be a cost when we first contemplated the project. Unfortunately, we didn't know it would be this much. Mitigation credits have, I guess with inflation, have gone up since the last time we purchased them. And, unfortunately, we could stand here all night and debate the rationale in this. But unfortunately, it is the world we live in now that we have to incur this expense to do these kind of projects. So tonight, I seek your approval to purchase these mitigation credits to move forward with the project. I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can.
Any questions or comments for Phil?
What's the amount?
The total amount is $804,000.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the mitigation credits as presented by city manager.
Second.
Please vote.
Thank you
Motion
very much.
carries 5-0.
Phil, when will that start, you think?
The project?
Yeah.
Well, first, we have to get these credits purchased, which means it takes a little time to get with the bank that we have to, the mitigation bank that we have to purchase these from. Once that's purchased, we're pretty much free to go at that time.
Contract's already been approved.
The contract's been
Bill,
approved, yeah.
We had to get the
We,
mitigation credit.
we've just been holding on this. It's took this long to get the environmental studies to get the numbers that we were going to have to pay, dealing with the Corps and all. It's a pretty slow process. But once we get going, we're full steam ahead.
All right.
Thank you, Phil. Number 3, consider update to parking ordinance.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, there's an ordinance in your packet tonight, and we already have a parking ordinance in the city that deals primarily with time limit on certain parking areas at City Hall, over at the Playhouse, and on the downtown square. This attempts to deal with an issue we're having primarily at the city center, with people parking overnight, leaving their cars there when we have events set up the next day, whether it's, artisans or people selling other things at festivals that need to come in and get set up, and they can't because there are people who are parking, having left their cars overnight in the areas where we're having these festival type events set up. So what this does is it prohibits, and the way it's designed is it would require everyone to move their vehicle by 8 a.m. the following day. It would be a violation to leave your car for any 6-hour period beginning at 10 p.m. until 8 a.m. the next day. So if you park your car at 10, you got to move it at 4. If you park your car at midnight, you got to move it by 6. If you park your car at 2 a.m. when everything closes or should be closed down, you got to move it then by 8 a.m. the next day. It allows for fines to be assessed if you're in violation of that, and unfortunately, if it came to it, we could engage in non-consensual towing of the vehicle as well. Non-consensual towing being fancy lawyer speak for we'll tow your car if you're blocking and you make it so that we can't set up for our festivals and our artisans and craftspeople and whatnot can't get in there. Happy to answer any questions on this. This has become something of a problem over at the city center. Of course, signs will go up that will advise everybody at the city center that this is a place where you cannot park overnight.
Anywhere?
At the city center, we specifically have identified the parking lots and the deck at the city center located at Georgia Highway 20 and Vision Drive. Now, if we don't put the signs up, well, we've defined parking areas as that, and we have prohibited overnight parking, generally speaking. But if we don't put the signs up for it, then it's not an area that we'll be enforcing when it comes to towing. We'll have to have signs up if we're going to be towing. So if we're going to tow from the lots, and mainly it's those lots that are closest to 20 where we're having a lot of these issues. If we're going to tow from those lots, that's where we'll have the signs up that notify people they can't park overnight.
Any questions or discussion?
Can you divide them up like parking deck versus
That's what
on
I mean.
Main Street? Or can you say it's okay here, not okay here? Because
The parallel or the street parking around the
Would be where you put the
buildings.
signs up, correct?
Well, that's what I was saying, is that we're only going to be able to tow where we put the signs up advising people we're going to tow. So if we don't put a sign up at the parking deck, we're not going to be towing out of the parking deck, unless someone abandons the vehicle, which is a whole different analysis at that point. In fact, we dealt with that over at the parking deck on Castleberry with an abandoned vehicle type issue.
The main issue is people are
on
leave on the main street, they try to set up for what we just had, a winter festival, and then
and everything.
the vendors can't set up
Right.
because there's a car taking up 3 places that vendors are supposed to be. That's where the issue is.
No, and that makes 100%
Without a
sense,
doubt.
but don't want to encourage,
No, you don't want to encourage somebody driving when they shouldn't,
right.
but it's, the parking deck, there's no need to put a sign there. It's,
But it would still be in our ordinance and would be subject to fines and things like that. I'm just wondering if we shouldn't go ahead and think about
eliminating the parking.
Not
If somebody parks their car there for a month.
Well, there's an abandonment process, it's a little bit different. I know deeming a car abandoned is pretty not easy either.
Question's probably more for PJ as the,
Wake up.
so if there's a car,
Having problems with the parking deck, if it's abandoned, I mean, most we can do is just run their tag and try to contact them, and that's the problem with this Main Strip. We try to do it at midnight the other night before the Christmas market, but if nobody's answering, we can't tow that vehicle. And the parking deck, we're not gonna be able to tow that either unless you guys have signs up, unless it's stolen.
it's the problem is they can't get rid of the vehicle
Yeah,
if it's in the way.
it's in the way.
So as long as.
It's not that
you
they're
put
going
signs
out there
on the
trying to
parking
get
deck,
rid of cars, it's just
What's that?
as long
4 or
as you
5
put
times a year,
signs on
they're in the
parking
way.
deck, then they'll be okay to stay there overnight.
We have to have, what, 2 public hearings on this? 1? None?
No, no public hearing.
On an ordinance change?
Just have to pass it.
Well, if we don't put signs in the parking garage or parking deck, then I think we should be fine.
Okay.
You have a motion?
I'll make a motion to consider update to parking ordinance.
To consider it or to pass it?
Yeah, or I guess, I just read it off the page, but I guess we have to, yeah. Do we need anything else after that? Okay, just to adopt the update to the parking ordinance.
Have a second?
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Item E, Utilities Report of RFP for site work for Heirloom Subdivision Water Booster Station.
Well, I'm trying to make Chris Light happy.
I'm so happy. Just lit up.
Since I've made him smile, maybe this won't be quite as painful. Okay. On Spot Road, there's a subdivision that backs up to the mountain, and this is a picture of the subdivision. And those lots in purple are actually up really high in elevation. We can't serve them with our normal water pressure. So what we do in cases like this is we build a water booster station, and eventually, up on the mountain, we do want to build a tank, but in this initial phase, it's going to suffice to do this pump station. Previously, back in March, we brought a proposal to the council for $4.5 million to do a booster station called Smithdale Heights Water Booster Station. I don't know if you recall that or not, but we asked the council to rescind those quotes so that we could do something less expensive, and I think we found a really good solution. In-house, we designed a site for the water booster station in that subdivision. So our staff created this site plan, we got it approved, and so we're moving forward in that direction. This is kind of a picture of a booster station. If you'll see on the left, there's a fire pump, it's a bigger pump, and then on the right, there are 2 smaller pumps. And those are used for like everyday house pressure. And they're on something called a VFD, which is a variable frequency drive, so the pump doesn't come on and go off and come on and go off. And anyway, it's a better way to do it. And then we did get paid, this is almost the total, we got paid another $225,000 on behalf of that subdivision to do this work. So now let me go back. Because we had to rescind those votes back in March, now we're kind of under the gun, so we went with our 2 emergency contractors to get prices, and we got 2 proposals, and I think I got the number on that presentation. Yeah, one's $151,141, and the other one
That's
is,
Townsend's number.
yeah,
Those are different than what you
You
got
see
in the
it?
packet.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
it's $168,700. I'm sorry, I made an error there, so.
They're flip-flop.
Yeah, they're
So
flip-flop.
What are we looking at? Jasper
Okay.
grading at
Sweet.
168?
Yeah, so
Put on there.
Townley Construction, let me just read it off from my thing. 151,145 from Townley Construction and 168,700 from Jasper Grading. I got those somehow mixed up. So we're asking to go with Townley Construction, the low bid, in the amount of 151,145 to do the site work. And then the next item is actually to buy the pump itself. So,
Well, that's not what's on the screen.
yeah,
It's what it's in our packet.
it's right in the
Time at
packet.
the big screen, and it's
Yeah,
back.
sorry about that.
Backwards.
So look in the packet, look in your packet, it's correct.
It's off.
Sorry about that. Okay, Chris. Christopher,
It's supposed to be, make it more
This was
clear.
supposed to be good.
Just
I'm gonna have to do better next time, I can't believe it.
teasing.
So Jasper Grading and Pipeline is 168,700, and Townley Construction Company is 151,145. And we were pleased because these were such close bids, so it really says that we described what we needed them to do pretty well in adequate detail. So we're asking to go with Townley Construction, the low bid, in the amount of $151,145.
So moved.
Second.
Please vote.
That way, if it's wrong.
It's not wrong, I
Motion
promise.
carries 5-0. But the water bubbles look good on the screen.
You like the water?
It's going to take a while to live it down, John.
How did this happen?
So, number 2, report of RFP for water booster pump for Heirloom subdivision.
Right.
Okay, so this is the actual pump itself. It includes a fire pump and 2 residential, domestic water usage pumps. And we got 3 proposals, and the best one really comes from Go Forth Williamson Incorporated. They're in Griffin, Georgia. Now, this pump we've spec'd out, so we have like 5 of the same brand and type. So we can pull a pump off of one and put it on another one if something goes down. So we have, standardized on one type of pump so that we can do interchangeable parts and have one set of spares and things of that nature. So the low proposal comes from Go Forth Williamson Incorporated in Griffin in the amount of $287,720. And I double-checked that number, and it's right on my other form. So.
We were all up here double checking.
Y'all were all double-checked. Y'all gonna double-check me from now on, I'm sure.
Any questions or discussion? Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you, Mayor and
John.
Council.
Next, under announcements, City Hall and other non-essential city facilities will be closed Thursday, November 23rd and Friday, November 24th for Thanksgiving. The City of Cumming Christmas Parade will be Saturday, December the 9th at 5 p.m. Executive session.
Yes, sir, for pending and threatened litigation as well as real property transactions.
I have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 5-0. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Close executive session.
So moved. Second.
Please vote.
Nah, he's a good ball player. Smart dude.
Motion carries, I guess Linda left.
Yep,
Motion carries 4-0. We have a motion to adjourn.
yep. Let's to adjourn.
Second.
Please vote. Motion carries 4-0.
Usually when I'm out of town.